Farmers are by their very nature stewards of the land. And so when a disaster strikes, it's almost always the farmers who are dealing with the aftermath. As the smoke clears on the area surrounding East Palestine, Ohio, we spoke with an area cattleman who has been affected personally by that February 3rd train derailment and fire.
Doug Mollenkopf. We live just north of East Palestine, Ohio, and we're primarily a seed stock producer, run mainly Angus cattle with a few commercial cows that we put embryos in, and primarily sell seed stock as well as a freezer beef market. Very large fire. We could see it pretty clear from our house that evening, and we got all the smoke because we're to the north, but we didn't get any water runoff issues here, so we don't have too much concern about the water issues. Unfortunately, everybody that lives south of town got all the water issues, and we got all the smoke issues.
Immediately after the incident, an evacuation was called for East Palestine and the surrounding area, but not an easy thing for a cattle producer to just get up and go.
Initially, we weren't, and by the time that they decided to do away with the rest of the train cars on Monday afternoon, then I believe we were. My wife and our little boy, they did leave for a day or so. Unfortunately, cows still need to eat, so I was here for that, and got to see all of it. Coming back to the house that day from being out and having to do a couple things, I had to talk my way past the Army National Guard and the state troopers, and had a sheriff follow me all the way to my house. So yeah, I'd say we're probably in that area. I mean, we had just kind of finished up calving for January, and so you're always going to check those babies pretty close anyway, but just really pretty focused on doing your job as to the best of your ability. And just, you're surrounded by media and people, blowing your phone up, and I appreciate all the friends and family that showed concern and asked how everything was going, but really you just really kind of stayed focused on trying to do what you really had to do.
Mollenkopf says with their farm being in a smoky area, they've seen some health impacts, not only on his cattle, but himself.
Gwen and Cody are fine. Like I said, they'd stayed in the house on the weekend, and Monday they left and stayed away. So they were doing really good, and we're lucky that as much as I've complained about some of the features in our house, we have part of it's a fireplace and part of it's electric heat, so we have no forced air in our house, and that's probably a benefit in this situation. Myself, I worked in the smoke all day Saturday and again on Sunday, and yeah, I had some issues, and I've actually done some adulting, and went and got checked out, and went for another update yesterday, and so I'm doing fine. Cattle, we did have a little bit of issue with young babies. Overall, the general health of the entire cow herd is pretty good right now. But like I say, we did have some issues in the really young calves and with smoke inhalation. So the veterinarian, we did send samples to the ODA, and so far we have not heard anything different than just basically smoke inhalation. And when we did the necropsy, you could clearly see that, for having seen it before, and like our vet pointed out, you could clearly see that there was lung issues that were because of smoke inhalation, and you knew it wasn't any sort of disease or pneumonia or BRSV, IBR, anything like that. So that pretty much just narrowed it right down to problems from smoke inhalation. It's unfortunately it's stuff we've seen before and in other places that we've lived. So it does happen. And unfortunately it happened here too.
He's referencing his experience with wildfire smoke and raising cattle around that in the past.
Kind of pneumonia symptoms is, they're labored breathing, they'll be lethargic. A lot of them, if you have problems with smoke inhalation, you'll find those cattle want to have their head and neck stretched out pretty far, and and sometimes they're huffing and panting, but sometimes it's just you can tell by looking at them that they're off. And like the January calves, we had a couple of them, a few of them that were kind of like that, and unfortunately we did lose one of them, and so we've done some other further testing to make sure that that we're okay. But just like my doctor told me yesterday, the amount of the time that this went on, and the amount that you inhaled, he said, really doubt that you would have had enough exposure to change any sort of DNA type things in your blood to where you would be looking at a future cancer risk or something like that. So he said, the short term, we need to kind of pay attention to it, and it's the same in the cattle, that in the short term, it'll cause some discomfort, cause some problems, obviously, but long term, feel pretty good right now about long term. Probably looks fine. Probably the key thing that I would take away from this, if you're watching it, is if you have any question about your current herd health, if you're questioning yourself on where you're at on your cow herd, just take that next step in terms of your daily maintenance, your daily chores, your herd health program. Talk with your vet if you have about maybe things that you could or couldn't do better. And there's all kinds of programs, the Ohio Cattlemen's Association, Ohio Angus Association. I'm sure other breed associations do the same thing, and attend some of them, and you always pick up new information that you might have thought you knew, but when somebody's actually standing there telling it to you, it sounds a little bit different. So, that would probably be my biggest takeaway is just, your daily routine, and making sure that you're on top of your livestock, whether it's cattle or hogs or lambs or any, whatever kind of livestock you're raising. So, that would probably be my biggest takeaway.
Hindsight is 2020, and it's in that spirit that we hope this interview brings not only perspective, but also insight into if a similar situation, God forbid, happens near you. Reporting for the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joel Penhorwood.